now in the 20th century, or 21st, what century are we in? 21st? What year is it? I don't even know
what planet I'm on, to be honest.
What do you think makes a beautiful life?
Right now? Matcha ice cream.
Cool, stop recording, that's it, we're done.
I think, I've been thinking about this a lot actually recently, is like, one, it's kind of like a conversation that I had with Mo a while back about like finding beauty in everything, and then I was listening to a podcast about awe, and about how like finding awe in everything. And I think a lot of time people, and obviously this is coming from a position of privilege as a preface for everything, but like I think a lot of the time people are like, oh, if I change my life in this way, or I go and do this job, or if I make this amount of money, or if I'm in this place, like I'll be happy and things will be great. But it's actually, that makes you very much like at the mercy of whatever circumstances you're in. And I think kind of to have like a truly beautiful life is being able to find beauty no matter where you are. So like in this parking lot and it's fucking raining, but it's like, but we live on a planet where there's rain, and like seeing the awe in that and being like, but hey, like we live in a world where like we can just go get matcha ice cream and it's frozen, like, and we can just have it, and like just, it doesn't, you don't have to be in a beautiful place for life to be beautiful, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think like for me that's something that's really helped me be like a happier person, is just like finding awe in like, and beauty in the really small things in life. Like honestly walking around like I'm high, like wow, isn't it so wonderful that like we have the colour green and then we get to see the colour green, and like the sunset is, and like just even sometimes the way the light falls, and I don't know, for me that's like how I find like small amounts of joy in just the mundane and like everyday life.
Yeah.
And to me that's really beautiful, and that's how like I'm very lucky where I've travelled to all these amazing places and I get to see like truly beautiful places and like have such beautiful experiences. But I think that, but then like would I be happy if I wasn't in those, like how would I find joy and still find my life beautiful if I couldn't do that for a period of time? And it's like I don't want to feel as though like my life is only beautiful when I'm doing those things. I think it should be beautiful, like sure nothing's great 100% of the time, but even in the bad times being able to find the beauty in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's like the grass is always greener.
Yeah, for sure.
But that doesn't, but the grass is always greener, but the grass here is green, still pretty green.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like just being able to see that and like notice beautiful things.
Yeah.
And another thing that like has really helped me, one, learning how to be a more patient person. But then after I kind of achieved that, I'd still found that I would like get really annoyed at like small things that people would do, like if someone cut in front of me in a queue, or like it driving, or like just did something a little bit inconsiderate or just annoying, it would just wind me up so, and I would get like so like irate about it. And it was like, okay, people are always going to do these things, like I can't control that, but I can control my response. So I started to try and find like a positive thing in that. So like if someone like cut in front of me while driving, I try and like, instead of thinking of the worst of them, be like, oh hey, maybe like their child's about to be born.
Yeah.
And like that's really cool that they're like so excited to get there that like, oh, they shouldn't have done it, but like they've rushed out. And just like trying to find things like that in moments, because I found like normally someone do something annoying, I'd get kind of annoyed about it and then I'd forget about it. But if I was already in a bad mood and something like that happened, they would just build up throughout the whole day and just make me feel like really annoyed by the end of the day. Whereas if I was in a good place, it'd be like, oh, that's really annoying, and then done. But yeah, that's something. And then apart from that, like for me, my life is beautiful when I'm kind of like surrounded by people I love, just having a really good time. And I truly love traveling. Like I feel happiest when I'm like on the move, especially in my van. I love road tripping.
Yeah.
And just meeting people, experiencing new things. Like I love that, to constantly be doing new things, and creating as well. I love doing like creative things. And yeah, really, like, for me, like community is really important as well. And I love getting to know people on like not just a superficial level, like really getting to know them and having like deep I just love a deep conversation. I'm like,
really?
Yeah.
You don't say.
Yeah, I'm not like, hey, how are you? I'm like, hey, what are your thoughts on the climate crisis?
Yeah, right.
You don't know me, but
No, for sure. For sure.
So I'm like, hey, we just met, but like, what's some childhood trauma that's had lasting impact on you?
Yeah.
You know, like I love that.
But I think, like, when I think about our friendship, it's because I remember having a conversation with Mo, and he was telling me about you.
Yeah.
And how you were saying that you choose to be happy, and you choose to find happiness in the small things, which is obviously what you were just saying. But Mo was telling me about that like months ago, right? Yeah. And I literally wrote it in my journal, and I think because I was like, wow, like I can't imagine doing that.
Yeah.
And that, like, I was like, wow, she's so fucking cool that she does that. Like, that's amazing. And like, the fact that we're having this conversation now, and I'm bringing that up, like at the time, like I didn't know you, and this was like less than. Well, like, I think that we had like one conversation.
Yeah.
And you were crocheting on top of the mountain.
Oh, yeah.
And that was like and then the next thing I heard, and then the next thing I heard from you was Mo saying that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's mad that like that wasn't even a year ago. And now like look at where we are, look at how much our friendship has progressed,
so
and like I think I've grown so much from you, and the conversations that we have is like I've always found it really inspiring just to be around you because of your outlook on life. I think it's such a inspiring and like beautiful way to look at things. And I think it's really helped me with my travels as well, you know, with being alone. Both of us love traveling, obviously. For us as well, like when shit does hit the fan, we only have ourselves to rely on. Like we don't necessarily have that community or like the skill set, so we've just got to pull ourselves through and continue to find the good in like just the little fuck ups that happen through life. Finally found the battery
after we took apart literally my whole van, including the frame, and now my whole life.
Because it's not here. YouTube videos showed that it would be under there. So we've literally taken
everything apart. I spent an hour organising this yesterday, and for what? Oh. It's another day in the life.
Yeah. Van life. She lives, she breathes for another day.
I think it's like life is beautiful, so you've just got to
choose to
see
to
it.
Find
Yeah. And like, sure, crap stuff happens, and there are people in awful circumstances.
Yes.
But I think truly you can find awe in most things. Obviously, there are circumstances when people are going through truly terrible situations, and it's a bit different to turn to them and be like, find awe in this. Like, but I think most people in like who are in a position of privilege, or who have like just pretty normal lives, like that's definitely true. Obviously, if you're in a war-torn country, it's slightly different. A bit different for me to say that, but yeah, I think most people in like certainly Western society could probably benefit from that a bit more. And I think it's something that, like, interestingly in religion used to be quite like a big part of religion, and that now that religion is not so much like important in our society, I think like something that has been lost from that actually was a good thing about religion, like was that like sense of awe and gratitude.
Yes.
And I think like now, and it's present in a lot of like Eastern cultures in spiritual practices as well.
It's like Christianity. I was literally reading Dr. Chatterjee, he was talking about gratitude this morning. And he was saying how like, well, religion's noticed maybe that, you know, practicing gratitude, it does live to a better life. And then now in the 20th century, or 21st, what century are we in? 21st? What year is it?
I don't even know what planet I'm on, to be honest.
I don't even know we're on a planet. 21st century? 22nd? No, 21st. 21st century, we're now able to actually scientifically prove that practicing gratitude does lower your stress levels, it helps you sleep better, and all of this stuff. It's like, oh shit, those religious people, they were onto something.
They were,
And now we've kind of lost that.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of like in a lot of like of health and well-being spaces, it's kind of being brought back, but it's like this knowledge we already had that we just kind of forgot about.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's interesting. All life is beautiful, and it's just about like seeing it within your own, and like seeing other people's life is beautiful as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everything, like all life, whether it's human or otherwise, like just kind of finding the beauty in it.
Yeah. We're in a time where we can readily and easily compare our lives
Yeah.
to other people.
Yeah.
And we're choosing to find the beauty in their lives
Yeah.
and notice how it's not in ours.
Yeah,
right?
right? Yeah.
And it's like, but this isn't real. Like,
Yeah.
this, what you're seeing on Instagram, this is not real. Like, when I'm having shit days, when I'm having shit days, I do post them on my travel account because I want to put out there that I do have shit days, and it's not all beautiful and amazing. I think that is quite unheard of.
Because basically the reason I started using social media, I didn't really have it until like 2019. I had Facebook, but that was it. I didn't have Instagram until 2019, and I basically started using it in the pandemic as a way of like, actually this is probably where I started on this, was like, we were in this awful situation, and I was like, I need to find some way of like staying positive and sane during this. So I kind of used like photography and Instagram and like stories as a way of like finding small pockets of beauty in my day that was just like mundane things, like, hey, I made this really beautiful meal, or like the sun was really pretty today, or like the flowers were out, and so I very much like my Instagram, usually I don't really ever post anything on there like about the bad times, because mainly not because I'm trying to project like this idea that my life is perfect, but more because it's like I want to like train my brain to not notice the negative as much, not to the point of delusion. But like, yeah, and so I started using it as like just kind of seeing the beauty, both like aesthetically in like the photos themselves, but also like just in moments within my life. And I remember one time I had a message from someone being like, oh, like it looks like you're doing so well at the moment, like your life's really great at the moment. And I was like, oh, I'm actually in the middle of like a massive spiral. Like I had lost a job I really liked, I'd had like a breakup that I was really devastated about, my best friend had moved away, like basically several major pillars of my life had been pulled out from under me, and I was like spiraling badly. And it was just really interesting that like, despite the fact that this was actually going on internally, externally it appeared, and I was like, oh yeah, this really just does show you that like what you see on Instagram is not, or like on social media is not reality, because like people do generally post about the good things. And I was like, like that's interesting, because although I am still finding these beautiful things in my life, and there are things I'm doing that's really cool, I'm actually also, in addition, like that is true, but also there's this other truth as well. So like this is a reality, but it's not the whole reality. If that makes sense.
Definitely.
But yeah.
No, when I was back in the UK, like before I ever went traveling, I found myself getting so jealous of other people's lives, not because of like Instagram, like someone started dating someone that I had a crush on, and I just got so intensely jealous of them. And I would see these two girls, and they had like such a strong relationship, and I was like, damn, like your friendship is so fucking cool. The reality was those two girls, they were literally best friends for years, and then one of them ended up like backstabbing the other one, and now they don't speak to each other anymore, right? And then the other girl, like, they've broken up now, but they were in a great relationship. But it was costing her family, and she had family stresses due to that relationship because they didn't like him or something like that. I don't know exactly. This might not even be true. But it was basically just like kind of a smack in the face of reality. Like, why would you be jealous of that person's life? I would spend hours wishing I was in somebody else's shoes. The reality was that if I was in somebody else's shoes, then my best friend wouldn't be my best friend. Like my dog wouldn't be my dog. The place that I like, my home, my house, it wouldn't be my home. It would be somewhere else, and it wouldn't necessarily be better or be worse. It just wouldn't be what I've got. And so then I started to begin the journey of like, I guess, like loving myself and appreciating what I've got. It's really weird, honestly, thinking about that time in my life, because it feels like so far away now from my reality, which I guess is amazing. But really cool. It was like a huge smack in the face of no, like nothing is perfect. Like you cannot compare yourself to other people. It's just pointless.
And I think even like if all of those things are true, like maybe that person does have an amazing relationship, an amazing friendship, and like they're doing these amazing things, it's like their beauty is not to your lack. There's so much value in all of our lives, and other people's like success is not a reflection that like I'm not successful.
Yeah,
It's just like
for
my
sure.
success for me is different. It looks different.
Yeah. So yeah.
To me, but for me personally, yeah, a beautiful life is just having the freedom to like travel and to be able to decide what I want to do when I want to do it, and being outdoors. Like I just love being outdoors. Like I ski instructor in the winter now. I do outdoor education, and I also love doing creative things like web design, photography. So for me, it's like being able to be outdoors, but also be able to be creative and experience new things all the time and meet really wonderful people. And that to me makes life beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yay.
Finn, let's go to the train station.
Yes. I did my phone.
Bloop. Bloop.